Welcome to the Say What I Mean podcast, and I have a variety of stories. Of course, the main focus is going to be on the serious topics, but I also have Netflix, Hulu, and battle rap discussion because I think life is about balance. I think serious issues need to be at the forefront, but you can get burned out with that. So I think you have to balance it out. And you can do both. You could definitely do both, and that's what we're going to do today. Before I get into any stories, I just want to give a shout out and a salute, as we should every day, to essential workers, people working in hospitals, people at the grocery stores, people that working in factories that don't have an option to work at home. For those of us that are lucky enough to work at home, we should definitely, definitely be thankful because a lot of people don't have that option. And it's unfortunate because your livelihood depends on working and bringing in income, but going to some of these um, places of work may put you and your family at risk. So it's a very difficult decision, and we just gonna have to rethink how we do a lot of stuff going forward. I think Corona did forever change certain aspects of our society. For one, social distancing probably will always continue, and I think it should. Even before Corona, I never liked people invade my personal space. I always like to keep a good distance. When people I didn't know was right up on me, I always was like, "Why are you so close?" So hopefully that will continue because I actually like that aspect. I don't know about wearing masks all the time every time you go out. I don't know if we're gonna have to keep doing that. Hopefully we won't. But social distancing, I don't mind that at all. I think people always should have been washing their hands. That should have been a given. I always kept hand sanitizer on me. But just people thinking about these types of things, I think is good. Um, Hopefully we rethink our whole health system, so the system won't get overwhelmed, so people can have proper health care. And that's been a topic of discussion for, I don't know, decades on end, since the 40s. Like what type of healthcare system we should have. Everybody should be covered. Everybody deserve good care, and unfortunately, everybody's not receiving that. Um, there's so many problems with our healthcare system, but that's a whole different subject. I have talked about that in the past, and we'll do more focused stories on that coming up. Um, so what are our elected officials doing? So the Democrats is coming out with another stimulus package, and this one is for $3 trillion. This one's supposed to focus on giving funds to local and state governments, along with tribal government and territories. This is like the fifth stimulus bill. I mean, I don't know why it took so long to address these concerns. Also, part of the package is they want to send another round of $1,200 to Americans, and also extend unemployment benefits. I mean, I don't disagree with anything in the proposal. However, I think these issues should have been addressed a long time ago. I mean, it shouldn't take this many bills to get to that. And of course, the Republicans are against the proposal because it's 3 trillion, but they don't have any problems giving unlimited funds to big corporations. The Republican Party is almost completely useless. The Democratic Party, excuse me, is really not too much better, and I think that is why a lot of people don't go out to vote. A lot of people is discouraged with politics, even though you should vote, even though you should be in the politics, because um, things can always get worse. It really could. So, depending, I do believe in minimizing damage, always working to get better. But in the meantime, till you can fix the problem, try to minimize the damage. So, who in office is important. especially during a crisis. Hopefully that then um, taught people that. But I don't know. It seems like people, I say this all the time, people don't really take things seriously until it directly affects them. Even if it's coming towards you. Well, it's not here yet. I got another day to do whatever. No, we need to be forward thinking. We need to be looking in advance at potential problems. But a lot of us is not thinking about that, and it's just unfortunate. So, we need to be talking about universal basic income. That should be a heavy topic of discussion, at least through the end of this pandemic, but maybe permanently, because so many small businesses are not going to be able to survive this pandemic, and the stimulus funds, the business relief funds, haven't really gotten to a lot of these small businesses. I know there's a lot of barbershops still hurting, a lot of people that own barbershops and other type of business. The funds haven't made it to them. Um, so when a pandemic hits, we don't need to be caught off guard like this. I think universal basic income have shot up in priority. I've always been for it. How exactly we do it, I know there's Andrew Yang proposal. I think that could be adjusted, but universal basic income need to be a topic of discussion, not just for this pandemic, but permanently. Because not only do people lose their jobs in pandemic situations, you have AI coming along. More and more of the service industry, those type of jobs is going to go away. Um, so we need to be talking about this type of stuff going forward. So hopefully we will. But again, a lot of times people don't focus on stuff until it's a pandemic or outright crisis. So we'll see. I'm going to continue to address these issues. I'm going to continue to bring these type of discussions to the forefront. Try and do my part. Now, the Ahmaud Arbery situation. I haven't spoken on that yet. This is my first time addressing it. I know most people is aware of the situation already, and so I don't want to rehash a lot of stuff that people have been saying already. But I think about these issues in a few different ways. Um, People tend to focus on laws, right? With the Trayvon Martin situation, it was the excuse of Florida's stand your ground, right? That was quote unquote the reason George Zimmerman got off. With this situation, it's Georgia's citizens arrest law, right? And don't get me wrong, these laws definitely need to be repealed and eradicated, 100%. But it's more than that. It is more than that, and I think most black people already know this. Just getting rid of these jobs, I mean, excuse me, these laws, is not going to stop these incidents, because it also depends on who the DA is, who the prosecutor is. Are they willing to bring um, these people up on charges? Do they have racist views themselves? Are they Do they have sympathy for white supremacist causes? These are the type of things we have to ask and be aware of too when it comes to these situations. Because if you repeal stand your ground in Florida, Zimmerman probably still got off, because it's the view of many people on the jury and prosecutors that, you know, somehow it's the black person's fault. In these situations, like I've been hearing it in this Arbery case. Okay, what was he doing? What, like, it totally get flipped around. Initially, they were saying, well, the McMichaels, they had a right to defend themselves. Really, they the one that pursued him. They the one that had the weapon. Mr. Arbery was unarmed. Unarmed. He was trying to run around the truck. He was trying to get away, but yet it was the two white suspects that had a right to self-defense. Same thing in the Zimmerman situation. He's the one that stalked down Trayvon Martin. He's the one that was being the aggressor. But yet it got flipped around. Well, he was defending himself. Well, the question is, when, as a black person, do you have the right to defend yourself? Do we have the right to defend ourselves? And for those of you that think that, okay, racism don't exist, I mean, let's be real. If the races was reversed, if the Michaels was black and they chased down a young white male that was jogging, do anybody have any doubt that those two black suspects would have been arrested? So that's why I don't want to hear the arguments of black on black crime, like stuff goes on in the black community all the time. I don't want to hear that because when stuff goes on and crimes go on in the black community, if they have suspects, 99% of the time those suspects get arrested. That's the difference. That is the difference. The difference is it was caught on tape and still nothing happened. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm glad that the McMichaels got arrested. I'm glad that the trial been moved, or at least the charges been moved. But will justice actually be served in this case? I have my doubts. Hopefully it is. But if history shows us anything, that you know, we should be skeptical. That why initiatives like getting DAs, progressive DAs in office is just as important as the presidential election. Because when it comes to stopping issues like this, the federal government do have power, but the majority of the power is going to lie with local and state governments. So your DAs have a lot of power. The attorney general have a lot of power. Um, on the federal level, they do is some things they can do on the federal level. So who's the president and who's the attorney general? Who the president appoints as attorney general do make a huge difference because you could do civil rights investigations. Now, to get civil rights charges on a specific individual is very difficult, but you can have investigations of police departments. Like the Obama administration didn't do everything they need to do when it comes to these type of situations. However, they did investigate the Baltimore Police Department. They did investigate the Ferguson Police Department, and they enacted changes in those police departments, which was good going forward. The problem is the Trump administration came in and they don't have to follow the same guidelines because the Justice Department changed. You don't have the same emphasis on these type of issues. For whatever you think about Eric Holder, he at least did that, which is better than nothing. So um, that's what the federal level. But who the DA is, whether they will press charges in these type of cases, make a huge difference. Who your sheriff is, make a huge difference. Who your mayor is, make a huge difference. Because in a lot of cities, it's the mayor who appoints the police chief, and the police chief will make policies concerning the police department. So all of these is interconnected. All of this is interconnected. So this is why you shouldn't just wash your hands of politics. I understand being turned off by national politics. I completely get it. I completely get it. My advice is just to minimize damage there. Vote for a candidate that would do the least amount of damage in our causes. On the local level, you gotta be full in. You gotta be engaged fully in local and state politics because that's directly affect you. You know. So rest in peace, Mr. Arbery. It's a tragedy, but until we have a full court press on these laws and the mentality, these incidents going to keep happening because nothing, no consequences is going to be served. So that's my take on it. So to the next subject, I'm gonna get a little bit more lighthearted. in this, I want to talk about, some of the stuff I've been watching during this lockdown period. I'm still working, but I had more time to get caught up on shows. I mean, it's a lot of shows that I haven't watched. It seems like everybody in the world didn't watch these shows but me. Like until a couple weeks ago, I never watched Game of Thrones. I know everybody was into the show, but a lot of times I like to wait till series are over and just binge watch it. So I knew I was always going to get a chance. Was going to get around to watching it, and the series is what everybody said it was. I've been binge watching it like crazy, so I'm not. I know I'm mad late on that, so I'm not gonna get too much into that. But other stuff I've been watching, Netflix, Uncorked. Uncorked was kind of, uh, but it worth watching. I definitely recommend watching it because I like a lot of aspects of the movie. It's basically about the main character. His father, it's a black family, by the way. The father owned like this barbecue restaurant in Memphis, right? So it's dope. He want to pass on the business to his son because his father owned the business too. So anything dealing with black business, I love it, right? But the son got other plans. He want to do other things, and that was the main conflict. It wasn't too big of a conflict, but it wasn't like super like contentious, but it was a little bit contentious. So it was just a good show. It was a good movie overall. So I definitely recommend y'all check that out. So on top of that, I just been watching just a lot of good stuff. So that's crazy. Battle rap, I always watch battle rap, but I want to highlight Danny Myers versus EK Emerson Kennedy. Emerson Kennedy just got smoked, right, by Arsenal. But I like EK. EK got some unique bars. I like his perspective. He doesn't always talk about, the typical gun bar type of stuff. However, 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 he need work on his delivery. And Danny's a beast. Danny was in his bag this battle. Um, I got Danny 2-1. Danny third round was kind of short, so I gave EK the third round. But Danny was definitely in his bag the first two rounds. You know, um, this battle, I like the way Danny rhymes connected because sometimes he do the random bars type of stuff, but yeah, his bars was interconnecting this battle, which was which was great. He had a lot of good nine lines like um, pop your top off and keep a lid on it. That was hot. He had a E True Hollywood story flip. He had a bar about how his people never talk like Maggie Simpson, which was fire. Uh, standing over the casket, the Kennedy curse is real. Whew. Like, if you know a little bit about the Kennedys and politics, a lot of those bars were hit. Uh, you never had a pill because it was a roof battle. You you never had a pill. That's why we doing it on the roofie. Fire, fire, fire. Blade a run against Kennedy like Richard Nixon. What? What? You evolved from Salt Lake to contradict my creation story. Ridiculous. Danny was in his bag, but shout out to both of them. I love the quarantine battles. So, well, I actually don't love them, but at least it's not keeping us dry out here. So, shout out to URL. I got some other stuff I'm working on. Of course, I'm still working on the presidential series. I got a bunch of different stuff coming up for y'all, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, share. Peace.